as usual, Red Pill Smash Bros, episode number 17. We're going to trigger some feminists today, I'm sure. How do you feel about that, John?
It happens.
It just comes with the territory, doesn't it?
There's something about, they're not allowed to be happy.
What?
People on the far left, it's like they're not allowed to be happy. If you're happy, they're mad at you.
It also comes in line with like telling the truth. I loved your episode yesterday. I listened to it a bit where you talked about mysticism. Was that yesterday's episode?
I believe so, yes. And
Yeah,
I had
dude.
somebody reached out, a mystic reached out or something. His assistant reached out. So I may have a
You might
conversation.
get a reading done? Oh, okay.
No, I might have maybe I'll have a guest.
Oh, that's
An
awesome.
actual psychic to talk to. Yeah, professional psychic.
Hey, I mean, I talk about the spiritual quite a bit and all that other good stuff, and there is some form of mysticism that's out there because obviously there is a spirit world, but at the same time,
So I have different opinions on a lot of
let's
this
hear
stuff. Okay. So mysticism generally is something that's used to create order, a feeling of order, to fight against chaos. And in chaos, when you're stuck in chaos, you generally feel a lot of anxiety. Right? So that's bad for people to feel that way. So that's why we've created a lot of these beliefs in mysticism and luck and things along that line.
So then, what are your thoughts then?
It's a survival strategy.
Oh, for sure.
Understand it makes sense. There's a biological reason to want to believe in mysticism, the unexplained. It helps battle anxiety.
Well, yeah, it was just like in the past, whenever a typhoon would move in, or a flood or a tsunami or something would happen, they would obviously go right into like sacrificing or prayer because the answer to them was, oh, the gods are mad. Instead of understanding, oh, well, there was a high pressure system that met a low pressure system and it moved in this direction.
It was science before science. Like they tried to figure out, they had tried to explain it. Okay, well, this makes the most amount of sense.
Yeah, we're always looking for the why. We're always looking for the why and the how, so that we can somehow break down the code of how to prevent it. It's like I grew up in a super abusive household. So I was always walking on eggshells and trying to do things that would not trigger a response, if that makes any sense. But the good part, there's also a good part that came from it, though. It turned me into someone who was hypervigilant. So now I'm able, and it's almost, I mean, to some people this would be a detriment, but to me now, I'm able to notice such minute details and things because I try to control I used to really, really try to control my environment a lot more than today. So I get it. It is a survival mechanism for sure. But on the same token, how the fuck do you say that one? Say at the same token, on the same token?
On the same token, at the same time. I don't know.
Sure, whatever. Fuck it. Maybe that's just a wrong phrase. Who knows? I've also done some pretty high level entheogens that have completely destroyed the veil of what most people think reality is. And I would even say, too, it's also completely destroyed the veil of what people think God is, especially this dualistic version of like heaven and hell, God and the devil and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to sit here and denounce any form of mysticism. It's why there's been so many mystery schools of the past. There is something, but at the same time, it isn't everything. And this is why, like in my new book, what I talk about is it's kind of like half and half. I had a really good conversation with a buddy of mine who called me up recently. You need the chaos. The chaos is the free-flowing energy by which creation is made. And the chaos is embodied by the feminine. It's the yin and the yang. It is darkness, right? If you really look at it, the only duality that we really have in the universe right now is polarity. It's magnetism. It's positive and negative. You need, just like Tesla uncovered with, I believe it was was it AC, right? The ebbs and the flows. You need to create a spike and then a lull, right? For that frequency to occur. That's what AC is, alternating current. That's polarity. It's magnetism. You need those waves in order for there to actually, no kidding, be energy, which is therefore created into material. Now, The negative is the actual energy, and the positive is by which it's like a computer, right? Do you understand how computers work? Do you know anything about computers?
Not really, no.
All right. I only know
I'm a
very basic.
boomer.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I only know a very basic level, but when I was taught this, I was like, holy fuck, boom. Like, computers are run by logic gates. The language by which a computer operates is by binary, ones and zeros. And that binary code, right? That 1 and the 0, because a logic gate can only have two outcomes, right? It's either open or it's closed. So you need to put a series of codes in there, zeros and ones, in order to open that logic gate so that the channel of energy, electrons, can flow to the next gate. And that's how you're able to have all this stuff operate. That's how it computes. That's what a computer does, right? So there's like millions of these logic gates, these switches that are inside the computer that are run just from these binary numbers being put in. And if it's the right binary combination, then it opens up. It's called a logic gate. Okay. And that's what men are. Men are the logic gate, right? Women are the energy. They're the binary code that goes in there, which is like the data, which makes it that way. And then men are the logic gate. So it's the information by which it is able to open and move on and form the right coding in order for the outcome to come out. Is any of this making any sense to you? Or am I talking too ethereal?
No.
So if you break down, because honestly though, the universe is ruled by mythological stories. Think about that. Think about archetypes and all this other stuff. Everything, the hero's journey is one of the truest things that rings true out there. That is the archetype. Sorry, that is the mythology
to me,
of the masculine.
that's human nature. That's an explanation of examining human nature. And humans are so similar.
But then you'd have to understand
shared experiences, shared feelings.
Sure.
Have the same programming,
but then you'd have to understand the programming though. How was that programmed into us? Right?
Well, I think that's a method of dealing with just natural stressors because we live in chaos. We live in utter chaos. So if you're not adapted to live through the hero's journey, you die. Mm-hmm. Because
that is true. That is true.
Right? Because there's a flood now. There's a famine now. There's a predator. Oh my God!
So essentially,
the usual food that we've been eating isn't available. Like that's all those things are. Everything's good. Then something happens, and then there's a dip, and then you got to fight back. Or
if you bring it back to what I'm saying, though, go ahead. I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. So what you're saying right now is essentially what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is the code was put there. And each person has their own code. They put their inputs in, right, in order to get outputs. But if you're putting the wrong inputs in to something that's already been established, which is the hero's journey that dictates whether you survive and thrive.
There's a basic model, and everybody can put whatever they want on the model. Right. But if they don't follow along with the model, they crash and burn, and they're done.
And then they're done. Exactly.
Yeah, they don't reproduce. They don't survive.
Correct.
One of those things happens. Yeah.
100%. So.
But to me, that's
the mysticism part, right? And this
behavior.
this ties directly into the feminine, though, because what I love the most about what you said is because females embody the chaotic side of things. They don't want those boundaries. That's why they shirk all responsibility, and they don't like the consequences for their actions. They don't believe in consequences. That's part of the mysticism of what you're talking about, and it's because it ties directly into them just being chaotic nature. Are you following me? So things are somewhat mystical because of just the energy, but the reality is that there is also order. There is also order.
You're still putting this mystical label on women, which allows them to just do whatever and not be accountable.
All right, so
that's kind of what my talk was about.
Right. So hear me out though, because women want to operate.
My mind. You just can't know what a woman's gonna do or want, or it's just.
I think mind. Yeah, no, you're right. I think that's bullshit though. We've allowed that kind of thing to occur. Mm-hmm. If you go back to my initial premise of what I'm talking about, half of reality is that mysticism, but then the other half of reality is logic. You can't live in an environment where there is logic and expect to just thrive being 100% in mysticism and having no boundaries or consequences or order. You can't do it. And essentially that's where we've gone wrong, especially over the last, I'd say at least 60 years, is we haven't held women to any standard. We've allowed them, through this whole guilt and shame thing that's gone on of like, oh, you men are oppressing us. You men are so weak and insecure that you're trying to control us. It's our turn. What are some other things that they throw out at us, right? All that other stuff. But the reality is, anytime you allow a woman into a masculine space, they bring this mysticism of like what you're talking about right now, where it's like, oh, we need to destroy these boundaries and we need to just kind of open it up and make it okay for everyone to have a voice. Everyone has an equal voice, right? No idea is better than the other idea. We need to represent each and every fucking segment of individuals out there. That's kind of what we're talking about. And that's what's been accepted. Men have been far too weak by not pressing the boundaries of what needs to be pressed. And that's what's allowed this to kind of occur.
Okay.
What's up? You got some head bobbing going on over there.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
What?
No, I'm just processing.
Yeah.
Because it's yeah, it is. They play that line of man. I think mysticism is just another fictional explanation before science came through and gave us the ability to do a better job of breaking things down and understanding things. I think mysticism was something that was placed off of observations and understandings, and like millions of years, people laid around and looked up at the stars every night because that's all there was to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a lot of stuff that they could relate with the stars and the seasons, and then we try to translate and make more sense of what those things are. And I think one of the things we lose is ancient people often explain things in stories, right? They weren't necessarily meant to be taken literally. They were just giving an example of things. Like a lot of the old gods were descriptions of personalities. They weren't really meant to be thought of as like a person, right? Ares, the god of war, like he wasn't meant to be, oh, there's a guy somewhere down there, who
his real name's Ares. He's over there. His name's Ares.
It's like the atmosphere and the things that go into what creates a war. That's kind of what it's supposed to explain.
So what you're defining right here is known as an archetype.
Yeah.
All of that stuff is archetypes. And that ties into mythology, because that's what, like I was talking about, that's really what.
So yeah, so
it's all allegory. You're putting on the placeholder. It's all
allegory. They're putting in placeholders.
Right. It's like using the term alpha. Make it entertaining too. There's no one person on this planet who is maximum alpha, right? But you use that placeholder term to identify a character set that, again, I'm going to go back to using logic gates, opens up that understanding in your brain that's like, okay, I'm able to now picture what alpha kind of encompasses.
Well,
and it's the same thing with Aries. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because you want your brain to work quickly and fast. It's one of those NLP things.
Stereotype in a way.
Linguistic programs. The neurolinguistic program. Your body creates these cues that flash by quick in your mind, so that you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about it. That's why I think a lot of this stuff nowadays, with the labeling, when people just throw a quick label at you to dismiss you, I think it's really low IQ. Like you can't get into the nuance of a conversation. So you just yell, "You have a small penis."
Dude, it's funny. You just read my mind on that one.
Like that's just the go-to. Who hurt you? Like,
not all women are like that.
Yeah. Like it's just verbatim. As soon as you get to that point, you're like, okay, yeah, the conversation's over, because you have nothing less. You have no more intelligent things to go, and you're not willing to explore the idea any further, So you just throw out the label.
Well, this is also a very feminine trait too. I grew up with a sister that was exactly like that. No depth, super shallow. Anytime someone would push back, it was automatically, shut up, you're a piece of shit. That was her go-to. Like, you're a piece of shit. You're a fucking piece of shit, right? However angry she was, that was the truth in the moment of how it needed to be. And it's what I call going for the jugular. We talk about this quite often, how women, their representation of masculinity is just being a shitty man. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what these people do. They think that what men do when we embrace an altercation is we go right for the kill for everything, every single time, with the fucking like mega ultra super ton atomic bomb to just, I win. And it's like, no, like, believe it or not, men, and this is why we've gotten walked over. Men, especially in our society today, we almost lack so much aggression that we allow people to like walk in on our boundaries very, very like our this is what we used to call it in the military.
You're not allowed to have boundaries anymore.
Our escalation of force.
You gotta be open-minded.
Right. Our escalation of force as men, and this is how men usually operate, right? Like, and I'm even working on this myself when it comes to other things. We've almost become too complacent to the point where we allow, like I said, for people to encroach. So like in Iraq, for instance, if we saw a vehicle that was coming in and we had a fixed position, if we had a vehicle that was coming in, we would like flash lights to like try to stop them. And if we didn't see them slowing down, then we'd have to do like a pen flare. And then from there, if they get closer and closer and closer, you could shoot out the grill or shoot out the tire. And then the last step of the rules of engagement or escalation of force would be to actually go for a kill shot. But the thing that most people don't realize is if you have a vehicle barreling down at you at 60 miles an hour and they're fucking 500 yards out, by the time you go through all those rules of engagement and escalation of force, they're already on you. They're already doing all the damage, right? And there's always some form of hesitation that's in there. Whereas, like, and this is what women don't understand about men, is we usually try to do our best in order to not do too much, go overboard. This is such a perfect analogy for our society. We have been tamping down our masculinity in order to make the place more fair for everyone. And that has been our biggest downfall in our country, because that masculinity is exactly what has caused this country and these ideas and this freedom and all this other stuff to flourish. Whereas now what we're talking about is the logic gate of people, women overreacting, and these feminized men too of, I don't like your idea, so therefore you're a fucking piece of shit. Therefore, you have a small dick. Oh, suck my dick. Oh my God. Well, how many fucking women are telling me to suck?
It threatens their worldview, the guys. So what I've noticed is a lot of these white knights and the soy boy defenders on the social platforms, they're usually guys who've never had a girlfriend or gotten a girl. Mm-hmm. Right. So they're professional orbiters, and they've been in love with a lot of different girls that they've orbited. Mm-hmm. So they have this mindset that it's still available. See, this girl exists. Like it is real. Like these guys are just misogynist assholes for saying these things. So like they haven't actually seen reality yet. They're still living in a fantasy.
Right. Yeah. They haven't gotten thrown into the wood chipper either. Mm-hmm. These are people that are so used to being in a toxic environment and in toxic relationships.
It's normal, and everybody they know has one also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So when you sit there and you point to these things, they automatically fire back, because that also would have to pull back the veil of years and years and years of bad relationships and relationships with family members that they'd have to sit there and be like, holy fuck, that's fucked up. Holy fuck, I should have been establishing boundaries with these people this entire time. Holy fuck. I should have been putting my foot down the entire time and dictating the rules by which people interact with me as far as relationships are concerned. The biggest fear for people, and this is where it comes down to, and I know you're going to break this all the way down to survival, so I'm just going to fucking beat you to the punch. but it's loneliness, right? People want to have this kind of like this belief system that there is a relationship out there where no matter what, that person has to love them forever and they will never be alone. That's people's biggest fear. And of course, yes, it does tie back to survival.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Well, there's some socialized things in there too. You know, I don't want to be the old alone guy, or you know,
why not?
Like, you know, like especially like position I'm in. I already have my kids, so like I'm not worried about like anything in the future as far as committed monogamous relationship necessarily.
Right. Well, I think too at the same time, man, you and I are definitely in the position right now where we're number one. You know what I mean? And it's taken years. It's taken years for me to get to this position. I'm number one. My greatest relationship in life right now is with myself. I'm at a point right now where I'm very, very pleased with all the things that I've done in my life. I'm very pleased with my own company. And this isn't to say I'm a fucking ornery bastard where I'm just like, rah, get off my lawn and I just want to be alone. No. I love socializing as well too. But I'll tell you what, like, I mean, shit, think of the years.
Enjoy the work I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. And then think of all the years of shit that you've had to go through, of the discipline and etching yourself into kind of the man that you are, right? Like, think of all that stuff. Man, I hate to boost us up to like the 1% of the population, but I mean, at the same token, like, how many people can really relate with the experiences we've been through with certain things, with a lot of things? And then not to mention, like, the cherry on top is this red pill ability to like read through the bullshit. That's very difficult. How many people do you know right now are sitting on the internet right now, projecting their voice and their mindsets out to potentially billions of people about this type of stuff? And then like we literally just met and we're like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people have the ability to pull the trigger and do stuff like that right away? Like, think of the levels of insecurity that people would have to go through in order to do stuff like this. So that's all. I mean, and the reason why I bring that up is obviously, so we're talking here, for those of you guys that might just be tuning in, we're talking about how a lot of people out there are so dependent on relationships and this fear of being alone that they will buy directly into having these codependent, toxic relationships. Mm-hmm. And when John and I talk about stuff
going into a relationship with absolutely zero frame, you're there just to serve. Right.
Yeah. And not putting yourself in the position of number one. A lot of people are scared. Yeah. A lot of people are scared to say, hey, I am number one in this relationship. I'm number one. Dude, this has taken me fucking years to feel comfortable to say I'm number one in this relationship. And I'm going to be bold enough to say that I say that to women when I date right now. And some of them honestly, I say directly like that. Go ahead.
And the girls I'm dating, that should be their priority too.
They love it. They really do.
They should be number one in the relationship too, in their head, in the way they're doing things. If us whatever doing our own things isn't congruent, then I'll see you.
Right.
We're okay. That's okay. It's not okay. That just wasn't meant for us to spend the time together.
Well, the thing that I'm noticing with that mindset as well as this, like, I see the way that women smile at me after that happens because it actually gives them something to work toward. Not desperately. That's the phrase I'm going to use for them. I think women deep down
to get your attention. They want to turn the beast into the man, the prince again.
Well, I think in my frame, it's not necessarily that. I think it's more so that women are trying to want to be Belle. I think back in the day when I was
meet you as the man and you're the beast, and they try to get you to be the prince.
I was attracting that when I was more of a blue pill alpha. That's what I was attracting. Now what I'm attracting is women that are actually more willing to be along for the ride and not trying to compete. Okay, good. Yeah, so when I say stuff like that, they're almost willing to, like, maintain a certain level of they're not trying to compete with me anymore. They're trying to compete with themselves and other women, which is beautiful. Because I see women smile when I say things like this, and they're kind of like, finally, I don't really have to uphold this mask that I was doing before, and I can just kind of like fall into my natural role. And I think that's what a lot of people would much rather do in life, is fall into their natural positions instead of wearing a facade. And that's why, again, going back to my tweet, that was kind of another like underlying tone that I was talking about in there, because a lot of these girls that I'm meeting that are like the boss babe, CEO, talking about being corporate exec and VP and all this other stuff, that's like their badge that they put on, right? Like right when they meet me, they're like, I'm this and I'm this persona. And like in the reality, I can kind of break it down and see, that these girls are really just little girls that kind of just want to be told like, hey, wear that pretty sundress and let's go out and let's go do this. And, follow me along on my journey. They don't want to have to carve the path and fucking cut through the thicket for their own journey. Cause let's be honest, like that shit fucking sucks. It sucks. There's certain men out there that it's meant for, right? Like the fucking Davy Crockett and the Daniel Boones and all this other stuff. Those are frontiersmen.
Most
that's
people
what men are
don't
created for.
Want to take a risk. Most people do not want to take a risk. Don't want to put themselves out there. Don't want to work 80-hour weeks. It's not for everybody.
I definitely don't want to work 80-hour week. I mean, I guess
technically the way I said, everything I do, even my hobbies are thing I'm trying to profit off of now. So it's
that's true.
So I'm either working or playing with my kids.
Right. And that's what I was just about to come back in. I don't want to be on a
daytime put aside.
Well, technically that could be considered working too, because in a way we're I hate to fucking use the term dating coach, but
practice.
Exactly. I just don't want to be the type of guy that sits at a corporate office for 80 hours a week. That will not be me.
Yeah. Taking phone calls and that's
Yep. And getting into corporate politics and business politics and all that other shit. Now, man, I gotta bring this part up too. Looking at some of the stuff that you backward hat cobbler, get off the internet, learn to talk to women, and maybe you'll be able to finally stop bruising your own dick. Oh man, Twitter, it's so good. But I had this gay dude come on there yesterday, and he was saying, what was he saying to me? Oh man, that's so crazy. I didn't capture it, but kind of started to get in he went into the same NPC thing. Like, oh, you have a little dick and my dick's bigger than yours. And the funny thing is, and most people would probably say this, I don't get mad. I don't react to any of this stuff. Right. What I do instead is, and I hate to use the term provoke, but I respond in order to kind of let you know, hey, you're not going to just get away with being able to do things like this and say things like that without a consequence. That's one of my biggest things. Now, this isn't for everyone. It's only just for certain things and when I feel like actually responding. So this gay dude responds to that tweet and he says something along the lines of like, you have a little dick and all this other stuff. And I could tell, I look at his thing and he's from San Jose. He's in your neck of the woods. And I was like, man, I want to try something different here, which I think is actually pretty fucking hilarious. And I want to just kind of like, I want to go full lefty on these lefties. So I responded to him and I said, that is insanely homophobic, sexist and bigoted. And then just kind of went off throwing the same exact things at him, right? And I'm like, I'm going to report you to Twitter because you should not be on here espousing your hate speech. And like he responds back and says kind of like he tries to go like full NPC again, but he can't because I just took all his ammo away, right? So he says it again and I kind of go through the same thing again of like, now you're just a transphobe and I'm going to tell the LGBT community about how you're doing all this other stuff and I'm going to tell Twitter and all this other crap, right? Going into it. And then he finally responds back. He's like, oh, I see what you're doing. Like that's what it took. Because he couldn't get an edge in by reacting with all this emotional fucking craziness because I beat him to the punch. And it was seriously the best, like, to me, that felt like the best medicine so far was to serve it right back to them. Serve it right back to them and show them the because these aren't arguments, by the way. And I hate to get into that whole, like, because again, we're dealing with the feminine versus the masculine.
Yeah, name calling is not an argument.
Right. But saying to someone who doesn't know how to argue, that's not an argument, is never going to register. Right? It's never going to land. For men, for other guys, they're going to be like, yeah, you're right. But that's also not an argument in a way either, right? So how do you, I hate to use the term win, but what people are trying to do through communication is just be heard and understood. So I was like, how can I be heard and understood in this moment, right? Because I can't respond back with, when someone says you have a little dick, you can't be like, well, that's not true, nuh-uh, right? Or, you know what I'm saying? So like, what can I do? Let's try something new here. Let's fire back with exactly how they fire back, of calling you a homophobe, a sexist, a misogynist, a racist, all this other stuff. And don't make any sense. Make zero sense. And then paint them into a corner like they want to do to you, with all these name callings, and then say things along the lines of like, you're promoting fucking violence. Oh my God. Did you see that fucking retweet?
No, that, no. You're promoting violence? So yes,
oh my God, yes. Somebody fucking responded back.
I'll teach you. I teach people how to master violence.
No. This is what happened.
I know, but yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Violence by through the saying what you don't find attractive, or what you're not looking for.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Establishing any form of standard for a woman in my life promotes misogyny, which means that we're also promoting a slave culture of women again, which therefore means that men are going to be able to kill and rape women with that slave culture and not be persecuted. So
you
therefore
have preferences. Because you have preferences on who you want to date.
It's called a slippery slope, people. You can't hear something that you don't like and then automatically, oh, this is exactly where I wanted to go with this the whole day. I'm so glad my brain fucking worked. You can't paint it to the fucking far extreme.
See, I paint some of this. I see some of this as a residual effect. Like, people have had Stockholm syndrome so long because human history is riddled with just slavery. Like, you always had some group controlling another group, feudalism, free range slavery, right? Like, there's always been somebody, caste system in India or Japan, China, like, always. So I think people are they're looking for it sometimes. They get uncomfortable with actual freedom and other people having freedom. So they want to limit people's freedom. They're not used to it. It's like the fish that lives his whole life in a little fish bowl, and then you put him in the bathtub, and he only swims in one little area of the bathtub. Does
that really happen?
Fishbowl. Yeah,
that's fucking awesome. That's crazy.
So they're so used to that small space. Give them freedom, they start freaking out.
Yeah. That's insane. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that though? Of how, when you present an idea like this, right? Because obviously,
if you shine a mirror on what they're saying, that works a lot. That works really well. You can also lean into it and like, oh yeah, you have a small dick, and be like, yep, it's so small, it goes on the inside. And then they just stop dead. Yeah. Then it stops them in their tracks, and they're like, oh well, I can't make it. You pull I call it the Eminem strategy, right? Eminem in 8 Mile, remember? He would rap and make fun of himself. First, and then nobody had any material left to get him with because he did it better.
Yeah, I like that. I think
you can take that approach too, and then
what I was kind of hitting on too was
they have zero power over you whatsoever. It drives them crazy.
How do you feel about this stuff being taken to the ultimate extreme? Anytime you say something, because that's a hard one. That's a real hard one to kind of.
Well, it's a child's mentality because they don't have any sense of nuance. It's white. It's black or white. You know, there's no gray in between. It's all. Well, if you cross this line here, it goes from my good to evil. No.
Oh my God, this guy had a standard, so he's a Nazi. All of a sudden, there's going to be concentration camps.
Not mine. So if you don't feel this way exactly, then you you're a Nazi. Yep.
Damn. This is such a... You know, the thing that I love about this, though, is this is all documented. People should do studies on this stuff and have it, no kidding, documented en masse. Like, I mean, even that thread alone.
Well, one of the issues is I've seen it. I've watched Tim Pool talk about it in some of his shows.
Let's hear it.
That the left, the people on the left, they don't read or interact with any of the ideas or people on the right. So they live in this far left bubble, and they don't converse with the other side at all. Where people on the right tend to read news from other people. They fact check both sides. I'm not saying they're correct. I'm just saying they're more likely to understand both sides of the situation, of the arguments. And you'll see that. You'll see guys who will have interviews and will talk to people on the other side and have debates, but you don't get that with the other side.
Yeah, it's funny too, because the second I said something, I automatically got painted as a conservative.
Yeah, I'm not a conservative either. I was a lifelong Democrat till Obama's like second month. And then, and then I'm fully independent. I embrace being independent. Like I am me. I'm about me and my family, my constituents first. And then I go outwardly from there.
Absolutely. But again, too, it's the need to characterize. It's the need to have, like, in a world where everything is black and white, you can't have something that transcends those boundaries, those markers. Like for me, I'm just like the type of person, like I'm right. I'm trying
to have a label.
I'm able to dance around into both of those environments and kind of like not pick and choose, because I have my own morality and my own virtues. But I'm able to, like, I'm free and not contained by those labels, so that I'm now able to just be free and run around and roam.
Yeah, like my favorite candidates for 2020 are Trump and Tulsi Gabbard. Like,
yeah, she rocks. She's breaking some serious boundaries. I wouldn't want her as a leader, but I really like that she's kind of breaking the mold.
I think she's better than. I think she's the best Democratic candidate.
Agreed. Which is so fucking crazy, man. Like, I don't. Again, with the Democratic Party, I don't see how they couldn't have jumped right on that. Like, right from the get-go, you saw a shining star. Shining star.
Because she's anti-war.
Oh, yeah. That's
Democrats are the establishment party.
No, I have a theory.
They're more owned by corporations than the right.
I have a theory. You want to hear it? I'm saying that because I'm going to tell you. The reason why Biden is being pushed, and I think this is the reason why Trump has so fucking amazingly calculated this whole thing of promoting the Ukraine investigation, is, and this goes into the globalist stuff. Now, you got to look at everything that Obama and Hillary were doing during their fucking 8-year reign. They were propping up ISIS. They were pushing fucking guns. No, absolutely. You're 100% right. Yeah.
Then into Clinton and George W. They were all one big group together.
They are one big fucking group that has literally tried to push the fucking war machine and these corporations into a fucking, like, a global, one international company that kind of rules all things, right? It has a war machine. It has a political faction. It has a drug cartel that's feeding them all their money that's tax-free beneath the fucking surface, right? So what they're doing is they're pushing guns.
Trying to push through around 2016. People don't talk about, but that was like,
what was that? TPP. Yeah, fucking crazy, right?
That was, I think, part of it.
Which Trump fucking crushed right when he came in office. By the way, first thing he did. Nobody knows about that.
Because it was a part of this, like, secret government being created, which was in the name of disguise of this, like, corporation or whatever.
Yep.
Because there was going to be unelected officials that made rules and laws that affected
trade.
Yeah,
on all trade routes
that affected us, and no, thank you.
One thing I want everyone out there to notice too is during that 8-year time frame, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but land, U.S. soil, were being sold to different different factions. China is one of the biggest purveyors
China
of American
bought
soil.
a lot of,
Saudi Arabia is huge, one of the biggest buyers and holders of that. During that time frame is when most of Hollywood was sold over. I think 1/3 of Hollywood is sold over to China right now, something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
There's been a couple
and that's turned into during that
gonna,
time frame where it's just a strict propaganda arm now. It is a strict propaganda of communist idealism.
They changed a few movies around where they're supposed to have like Chinese soldiers invading. It's like Red Dawn or whatever, and they changed it to They changed it to North Korea.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of China,
which is funny because I guess
you see the South Park stuff. You got to watch the South Park stuff on China.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, you're the one that turned me on to that. I was like, I couldn't.
And then they also did a trans athlete show.
Oh, so good. It was so good.
Crazy. With
there was a
Macho Man chick. Yeah. Looking for dudes.
Dude, they are so good. They are so good. No
one else is allowed to do that. No one else can. I love it. They've been doing it for so long. They get a pass.
But they do it perfectly though, and that's what we talk about in a way. Like their humor registers as truth. It rings true. So therefore, that's why they're able to stand as well. And there are still people that tune into it. Just like, as much hate as I got for that tweet, there's still 12,900 people that liked it and passed it along. Yep. There's people out there that are sitting there as the silent majority that are like, that's true. We're just not going to have faces to the name, but we're going to prop this stuff up because, they don't want to face the brunt of the attack from that fucking, that loud minority.
Yeah. Shame is real, man. People feel shame.
Yeah. It's crazy. And that's something that I've had to fucking stomach too, to be honest with you. It's like, and that's what I've realized is that a lot of my time up to this point, I've been able to stomach a lot of that very well in comparison to most people.
It's not real. It doesn't even matter.
No, it doesn't fucking matter.
They'll forget about it. They won't even remember.
Right. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. They're just like the news cycle where it's going to be like, if it's big news, it's going to be on for like 3 days and then you forget about it. In comparison to what's going on here. Dude, I also really liked your fucking Trump impeachment following. I can't believe what is going on right now with it. Like, John, answer me this. Like,
Scott Adams says it's two movies on one screen because those same clips that I showed on my show the other day. Some people on the other side will see those. Yep, there it is. There's the proof. Like, what?
I don't get it.
I
don't get it.
You have no witness, no corroborating evidence, nothing.
All your main fucking witnesses have come up and they said that they don't have any evidence and they did not personally hear or see any fucking act of quid pro quo. How can this continue?
Or bribery
anything.
Anything.
This is insane.
And the people that are most connected to it, what's his name? Gave the talk the other day, said Donald Trump said, "I want nothing." Trump started putting tapes and videos of that out.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah. That was just Pollard or whatever the guy was the other day. Or Colin, I can't remember what his name was, but
no idea.
He just
I don't follow it that closely. I was just I was putting together
I don't
my
either because I'm tired of it. But one day there was a bunch of hearings and then these things came up my timeline and I was like, okay, well, it was like 4 videos. Like, that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah. Hotep Jesus posted something up the other day where it was just like the main guy. I think I brought this up. And he's like, CNN posted this morning that you're coming up here and you're saying you got all the evidence, that you have direct firsthand knowledge that you saw this happen. Is this true? Is this true? Do you have any? Did you see it happen? Did President Trump directly say this to you? Do you have any evidence that he said this directly to the Ukraine president? He's like, nope, I don't. CNN posts up as the headline that morning that this guy has all the evidence. And right there in the hearing, he says, no, that's not true. I don't. I have nothing. Oh, it's such a fucking clown show. It's such a beautiful thing. Insane though. Man, I'll tell you something too, man. I'm kind of, with all this move and everything that's going on, I'm fucking struggling to get into BJJ right now, to get back in. You ever go through phases like that where you're just like,
yeah, I got back, started doing some rolling again, but now I've just been trying to write a lot and get some other stuff handled. And yeah, it's like I got to reset my schedule. I got to get some things going.
How
It's
do
a
you feel
pain.
about that when you hit these
It's
kind of
hard.
like
It's hard.
lulls
Well,
in
it's like
training?
hard too because I've had man schedule change stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like I went down to San Diego, and then the kids had some time off,
Mm.
day off, and then they had they had a short schedule one week where they got off at noon every day, and then next week coming up is Thanksgiving again.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's like, yeah, you hit these little bumps and it throws things off a few days.
Right. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm dealing with the same thing too. And then, like I was just saying too, I got my desk finally set up so I can actually sit there and type. And I've really been wanting to crank back into my book because I don't know, I had a dream about it last night too, where it's like this is going to be the next thing for at least more passive income, I think.
Yeah.
While I'm working on all my other stuff. But it's so I was going to BJJ like 5 days a week before, and I was fucking getting so good. I was giving black belts a lot of trouble. I was feeling the flow. Like that's one thing that I really absolutely love now that I'm a higher belt too. Lower belt, you're like surviving and you're trying to like kind of figure out things to do and all this other stuff. But when you hit a higher belt, guys, and this is something I want people to really start to notice, it's like before jiu-jitsu was almost like 3D in a way, maybe like 2D, I should say. Very two-dimensional, of where I saw it on a plane of like two guys lying on the ground, right? And the only thing I could really do was like the X and Y axes, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like side control, mount, pass and all this other stuff, and that's what you're doing, and you're only working to like the next position. And then I started to really get into this flow of where I was able to see everything from a full 360 of like how, like, I'm not just like there is no ground. There's the full sphere underneath the ground where I'm able to start like moving in like a gyro. Doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that was awesome because you could start getting into like more of like the barambolos that start moving into different kind of setups and back takes and different shit like that because you're not so affixed to the ground. And that felt fucking awesome. And then life comes in where it's like, oh shit, I'm getting this job. I need to build my finances right now in order for me to start getting ready for some investments for real estate and all this other stuff. I need to set this up and start writing my book. And man, when I first started writing this book too, I probably sat down for like, a week straight, and just wrote for like a week straight.
Yep.
Didn't even go to jiu-jitsu. It was just like, I need to get this shit out of my fucking brain and on paper. And that was addicting. Like that's very addicting when you start to see words
You
go
catch
on
that
paper.
flow, you got to just kind of go with it.
Yeah, you really do, man. It's crazy.
Momentum.
But, I feel where I'm at right now is this. Like I'm longing for what I want my ideal routine to be like. And my ideal routine would be something along the lines of where I have my dog is walking around like crazy right now. It's driving me crazy. Chance, come here. Come here, boy. Sit down. Good man. Good boy. Ideally where I want to be able to go is like wake up in the morning, get a workout in, right? My lifting, go right into jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai, depending on how I'm playing with that. Then do some kind of investment work or something like that where I just kind of like check up on my stuff. Then I'd like to go and like shoot my bow or go shoot some guns. Then from there, hop on here, something like that, do like a quick podcast with someone or do some kind of mentoring or do like a coaching call or something. And then after that, do something else where I fill my mind up or I try some kind of new skill. Like, dude, I'm super jealous. And this is one thing I want to really commend you on. My greatest fear is singing in front of people. I think I talk about it in one of my War Stories episodes. I think episode number 1.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I forced myself to do it.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy. Like you literally like no balls, just fucking come up on here and you're like, I don't give a fuck about the outcome. I'm just doing this for me.
Not very
I can't
good.
play a fucking instrument. Like this is something I definitely want to get into later on in life when I'm a little bit more chill, right? When I got some more free time. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now is like I see where I want my ideal life to be, and I'm kind of like I've had snippets of it where I've had that. And then now that I'm trying to like invest and build again, I have to like go into like build mode and I have to sacrifice other things in my life that really keep me content and happy.
You got to go into the monk mode every once in a while.
In a way, yeah. And I talked about that yesterday with monk mode, where, guys, when you do monk mode, it doesn't mean you just stop talking to women altogether. That's the stupidest thing in the world that you could do. I think you talk about it. It's a muscle. It's a muscle.
Focus your energy.
Yeah, if you stop talking, if you stop socializing with women, or you stop socializing with people in general, and you just go into a fucking cave, like, you're going to come out of that cave a little weird. It's like coming out of a cave and then looking up at the sun. You're going to be like, fuck, dude, that shit's bright. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, covering your eyes, and it's going to take some time to adjust. With monk mode, it just means not having it as much of a priority as it was before. And I guess that's kind of like what you're talking about right now with where
I go down to one date night a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I do that. I have a strict one where it's like one or two nights a week when I'm kind of really jamming.
There was a time, I was cranking out as many dates as I could. I got 6 dates in a 4-day stretch.
Yeah. I had 5 dates in a 3-day stretch, and it was fucking epic too. I ended up closing on 2 of them. I ended up closing 2 girls the same day, and then one of them was 2 girls within a 5-hour stretch. That was fucking epic. But like you talk about, everything is flow, right? Mm-hmm. I was in the groove, man. I was there.
When it rains, it pours.
Absolutely.
You gotta get the momentum going. I can get you the other direction too.
What's that?
They can go in the other direction too, though.
Yeah.
It can be negative momentum.
Right. Well, with that said, though, again, it's just like jujitsu. If you're not seeing the opportunity, like if I'm not able to fucking pass someone on my right side, what am I going to do? I'm going to try to figure out another way to get that pass. I might bring the legs together and grab the legs and bear hug the legs and then pass that way by throwing my shoulder down on his gut. I might lift one leg up and go the other direction and then fake it back and go the other way, right? A lot of us guys, this is just kind of how we operate, is we get us fixed. And this happens with girls a lot too, is like, I'm looking for this outcome, and I'm just going to keep forcing this one direction in order to get there. And it's like, that's not really how life works. You got to figure out workarounds, and you got to figure out how to kind of like dance and bring it in the direction that you want it to, right? So, I mean, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. This is where I do feel guilty too, is because I had such good flow with jiu-jitsu. Now only going like once or twice a week because I'm trying to reestablish my routine. Fucking, it eats me up, man. I hate that, but it does eat me up, because I also, at the same token, you know, when you go back in after you haven't been going back, after you haven't gone in, fingers hurt, your fucking toes fucking hurt. Yep.
Forearms are cramping up. You can't hold on as much.
Your lungs aren't as good. You're fucking the blue belts that have been fucking chomping at your bit are now training more, and they're like, oh, fucking fresh blood, like blood in the water. Let's eat them up. You know,
slow everything down, set my grips.
Going to full survival mode for a few minutes until you fucking out technique them. Yeah, but it's a pain in the ass, man. It's a pain in the ass for sure. And it causes you to not want to go back in, because it's like, fuck, I wasn't as good as I was before. And you mentioned that too with the singing and the ukulele, is it's like, no one starts off fucking perfect.
Nope.
No one starts off perfect. There's a lot of fucking
everybody sucks the first time.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Just got to do it.
And it's the same thing too, I guess. I'm thinking about it right now, because my biggest focus is business. That's where this next year coming up, and I hate to be the guy that's like, this is going to be my year, right? And I don't set my goals for like starting January 1st, my new year, you know? Are there any pro-patriarchy group chats like this on Discord? Just somewhere chill to talk to bros. I have no idea. I'm not on Discord.
I don't know how to use Discord.
I think I have a Discord, but I don't get it. I've
heard about it. Again, but I don't.
You know, I get accused of being a boomer, even though I'm definitely a millennial.
You can go to the John Fitch Knows Nothing live streams weekdays at 9:30.
John Fitch is live every day of the week.
A lot of 9:30. Bro talks there.
A lot of bro talks. we do this on at 9:30 every Saturday, and then we also do this at and this is all Pacific Standard Time, just to let you know.
3 left coast.
Yep, 3:00 p.m. on the left coast. And then directly after this at 11 p.m. I will be on Hot Dude Party with Jon from Modern Life Dating.
I actually have I'm going to do a weekend John Fitch Knows Nothing with Jamie Kilstein. Should be interesting.
No shit. Kilstein, huh? Yeah. Dude, you're getting some fucking big names on there lately. How you doing all this?
Just embracing, my notoriety, my power of networking. Just
thank God you're finally doing it, man.
Yeah.
No,
it's one of those things.
No
like,
shame,
no,
dude.
seriously, like
I think you should be doing this stuff. I really do.
I think it's kind of like a blue pill thing or whatever. Not, oh, I don't want to bother anybody. I shouldn't do this, or like just like embrace power. Like there's nothing wrong with power.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can use it for good.
Yeah, you
make some connections.
You got that blue check mark fucking big dick game going on.
That's like man, that's a new I think it's a what do you call it? A
pre-selection
thing now that a lot of the younger girls
it's huge
will respond to.
It's huge
check, which is ridiculous.
I aspire to do that somehow, some way. I don't know how to do it yet, but it'll get there.
Well, you have to get enough. I had a company do it. That's the easiest way to do it. Bellator did it.
Oh yeah. I see what you're saying.
That's why a lot of like news agencies and people, because their company will go and have a group of people they get certified all at once. They'll go through those channels.
Yeah,
they have ways for individuals to sign up and do it. It's a lot harder, I think, though.
Yeah, I think regardless, I need to make a little bit bigger of a splash other than like I need to be a brand. That's ideally what it comes down to is if you're a brand and you're marketable, then it'll happen. And I mean, that's guys, if you're not looking to make yourself into a brand, this sounds stupid. It sounds counterproductive.
If you're online and you're doing some kind of work online, it's necessary. Or even if you have a storefront, you have a storefront of any kind of business.
See, you're
gonna have to have a social media presence because that's where marketing is done. That's where it's all
I'm gonna say just in general too. Even in the dating world, like I was saying, I was out in Scottsdale 2 weekends ago for Hot Dude Con, and there's a lot of hot young women out there. And if I could have just walked up to them and been like, "What's your Instagram?" You know what I mean? Like, that's the question. Instead of asking for numbers and stuff like that, be like, "What's your Insta?" Be like, "Oh yeah, follow me." And then like show them right there on my phone or type it into their phone and see that right there. Boom, automatic. That's automatic fucking social proof. You get to cut through. It's like you cut through the fucking line at the club in a way with women because they see that and automatically your social proof is so goddamn high. Because what are they addicted to? They're addicted to these to fucking Insta. They're addicted to it. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. Everything. Absolutely. So if you could do something like that, and that's what I mean, like you should be your own brand. The sexual marketplace, guys, that is a marketplace. And you are either a commodity or you're a fucking business on that sexual marketplace. Your ranking of 0 to 10 on that level is how good of a company you are and how much of a market attention you have. So even if you're just an individual, you need to look at yourself as a business, honestly. And these are the things that you should be looking at. Now, yesterday I did a podcast, on this channel. You guys should go back and look at it. It's the either or trap, right? It's believing in doing either or, and that's something that's killing people right now. Is if I do this, then that kind of deal. But the reality is, you have to be doing, especially in this marketplace today. You have to be doing everything. And it's just like the conversation Jon and I were just having. It's like, how are we fitting in writing books, podcasting, marketing ourselves, advertising, going to the gym, staying fit, going out on dates, being a parent on his case, right? Building our finances. How are we doing all this within the work week? How are we doing that? And that's what you have to understand about, you as a business. You have to be able to figure out how to do that as a brand. All right, John. No worries. I got to get cruising anyway. Make some
Yep,
peepees.
I gotta take care of the kiddos.
Oh, those things, huh?
Time for donuts.
Time for donuts. They're cashing
donuts
in some
make me go nuts.
cashing in some of their points for donuts.
Well, we
Or
get
is it
breakfast
just a treat?
sandwiches and a couple donuts
There you go.
on Saturday mornings.
Great idea. Sounds
It's a lot of
phenomenal.
fun.
All right, dude. Where can these guys find you? What are you working on right now?
JohnFitch.net, one-stop shop, and come see everything there.
Hell yeah! And then he's on live. John Fitch. What's your
Tonight at noon. Official John Fitch is my YouTube.
Official John Fitch is his YouTube. Check that out. He's been doing some pretty cool stuff lately, and as we just talked about, he's been bringing on some big players. Bobby Dino last week.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good one.
AJ Cortez did a remote with him.
Oh, no kidding.
Kevin Pham.
I didn't see any of that.
Did some good ones.
Good, dude. That's fucking huge.
My buddy Nate came on too once.
Cool. So you guys can find him there. I come on randomly every once in a while when I feel kind of like a surge. That was what yesterday was. I was like, man, there's a topic I really want to get off my chest. So obviously for me, guys, just subscribe and hit the bell, hit that notification bell. I come on live randomly. But then, like I said, John Fitch and I do this at 3 p.m. on Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard, Saturday mornings at 9:30 Pacific Standard. And then I go live on Sundays at 5 p.m. Standard or Pacific Standard to go over my War Story Sunday. If you guys really want to trigger some feminists and really start shifting the world in the direction of a more masculine frame, I'm selling an online dating mastery course which teaches men how to become fucking super awesome with dating in general, but also being able to do it from a safe position of being able to do it online. The online dating game helps you develop it for when you go out in person. So it is literally it's like playing a video game for dating. And I show you how to kind of get the cheat codes for that. So please do click the link below and purchase that course. Leave a nice review and share it with your friends. With that said, until tomorrow at 5 p.m., I will see you guys later. And John and I will see you on Wednesday. Take care.